Hi, I'm Gabriel Chrisman, the proprietor of Victorian Cycles. I build historic bikes, especially 1890s bikes, but today I'm going to talk to you about an 1880s bike I built recently. This bicycle is a hard tire safety, and I built it for a major TV production. I can't tell you which show it's going to be on because they have their own publicity schedule and I can't step on their toes, but hopefully you'll get to see this on TV later. The TV series is set in the 1880s, and they wanted a bicycle that was appropriate for that era. Most of the bicycles I build are 1890s designs, so for this one I stretched a little bit to build something a little bit earlier. During most of the 1880s, the Ordinary was the most popular bicycle, and I've already done a video about the Ordinary, so you can look that up if you're interested. But around the middle of the 1880s, the hard tire safety became an option, and this was something that was new, and it was put together by a lot of the engineers for marketing reasons. They found it a good option to sell to people who were maybe safety conscious, who looked at the Ordinary and saw a dangerous design. And of course, these marketing people amped up the danger in order to sell more of these safety bicycles. That's why safety is in the name. So this is a pneumatic tire. This is what's on most modern bicycles, and of course on bicycles starting in the 1890s. These were invented in 1889. So the outer tire is fabric and rubber, and it's hollow, and inside here you have a tube made of rubber that holds air under pressure. That gives you a smooth, comfy ride. Before the pneumatic tire was invented, bicycles had what was called the hard tire. So this was solid rubber. It just has a small hole that runs through the center there, and you hold the tires on by running a wire through that center hole and then tightening that wire and brazing the ends together. So that is what the tires on this bike are made from. So the hard tire safety bicycle is something I'm going to explain how it fit into the bicycle history. The Ordinary bicycle, most of you know. It's the one with the big wheel in the front, the little wheel in the back. And most of you know what the pneumatic safety bicycle is. It's the bicycle that looks a lot like a modern bike, that has tires with air in them, that has a chain drive. And so this is almost a missing link that fits in between those two bicycles, and it came in the middle of them as well. And so if you look at a bicycle like this, it's got a blend of the features of those, and that's what makes it so interesting and such a fun bike to build and put together. So most of the bicycles I build are 1890s pneumatic tire bikes, and I've worked on bicycles like that for 20-some years. Most modern bikes are direct descendants of the 1890s pneumatics, and this was a little bit different because it incorporates more features of the earlier Ordinary bicycles. And you can see that in a lot of the parts of the bicycle. If you look at the tires, these tires are solid rubber. So these are just like the tires that you would see on an 1880s Ordinary. The wheels are a little bit larger diameter than a modern bike's wheels, but they're obviously much smaller than the Ordinary wheels. And if you look at the chain drive, this is a very large, heavy-duty chain. These were borrowed by the hard tire safety designers from the ladies' tricycles. And so that was technology they just moved right over. And the later 1890s bikes made it lighter and smaller, but it was still the same idea. The frame, they hadn't worked out the diamond frame geometry yet, so this looks a little bit more like a plus, and that's why this was called a cross frame. And this was something that was just an intermediary design that came in between, and it connected the dots in a different way than you see on most normal modern bikes, or even the 1890s bikes. If you look closely at the brake, so this brake looks a lot like the brakes on an ordinary. It has a little spoon that presses down straight on the tire, but has a lever that looks a lot more like a modern 1890s bike lever. And that brake is actually pretty effective on this bicycle.
Bicycles like these were part of the culture of bicycle clubs in the 1880s. Many cyclists joined clubs to be a part of a social culture and group, and these clubs were influential and admired. Bicycles were expensive, and most of the riders were fairly well off. The club riders, in their matching uniforms and mounted on their gleaming machines, were a conspicuous part of the city landscape. The bicycle itself was a status symbol, and a way of defining the riders as progressive, modern, forward-thinking types. The choice of a bicycle could say a lot about a rider. A foreign cycle was more expensive, often lighter weight, and could demonstrate sophistication. A racing model would indicate competitiveness and likely youth, where a safety model such as this might suggest a steady, careful nature paired with a willingness to try new things, since these were a newer design with more recent engineering and new patents.
So, the hardtire safety has coasting pegs right out here on the front, on the fork. So these are footrests for when you want to be able to coast on the bicycle. This is a fixed gear, so the pedals keep on moving as long as the wheels are moving. So if you want to go down a hill and don't want to have to keep your feet spinning very fast on the pedals, you can rest them up here on the coasting pegs. We also have a mounting peg in the back. This is because people were still used to the ordinary bicycle where you mounted from the back of the bicycle, and this peg was exactly like the little step they had on the left side of the ordinary bicycle in order to get on and off. So on this, you'd be able to stand on that peg and get going from the rear of the bike, which made it easier to get on and off for people. So the types of people who are riding hardtire safeties might have been a few of the older customers for bicycles, a few people who might have been more safety conscious. They were also trying to sell a few of them to women, but they really didn't have the designs right yet to accommodate women's skirts, and the tricycles were still much more comfortable and popular for women through most of the 1880s.
This is Gabriel's wife Sarah jumping in here just to say that when we do a video about the pneumatic safeties of the 1890s, we'll be sure to explain the significance of that bicycle design to Victorian women. But that's a different bicycle and a different video.
So, that's what the hardtire safety is. That's what this bicycle is that I've built. And if you're interested in a bicycle, whether it's one of these, something exactly like this sort of hardtire safety from the 1880s, or whether it's a lighter weight, more modern 1890s bicycle for a little bit faster use, by all means get in touch with me and let me know what you're interested in, and I'd love to build one for you.